Over the last 30 years, research has made an overwhelming case for the benefits of bringing nature and biodiversity into cities, not just to combat the effects of climate change and urban flooding, but also the fantastic beneficial effects on human health and well-being. Now, most people in cities, their main access to nature is their local park or green space, and these are dominated in the UK by huge swathes of boring mown grass and clumps of trees and little flower beds. And that's really why we've chosen urban meadows as the main focus of this project, because it gives us the chance to transform the most common and ubiquitous type of urban green space into something completely different. And that should bring many, many benefits. It'll soak up excess rainwater in times of flood, it'll cool the air. But really importantly, it will provide a fantastic resource for pollinating insects and seed-eating birds in the winter. But much more than that, it should be great for local people and communities, making something which has really little visual value to something beautiful. And of course, we have to remember in times of austerity that managing meadows is much cheaper than mowing short grassland all the time.
The Urban BESS Meadows experiment is a unique experiment that's been set up in the real world to actually scientifically measure the potential benefits of introducing meadows in urban areas. The experiment is actually part of a much larger project which is called the Urban BESS project. And here in Luton we're working with the Park Service. We have 9 different areas of meadow mix. The 9 mixes consist of 3 different levels of floristic diversity and 3 different heights of meadow.
The Urban BESS Meadows experiment is a collaborative project between Luton and 1 or 2 other local authorities with the university sector, in particular Cranfield and Sheffield universities. This is one of many projects that we've got going on in Luton with the intention of increasing biodiversity, and sometimes that's been popular with the public and other times rather less so. So one of the interesting things about the BESS project is that we are actually getting some measured data now on the public responses to these things, as well as the responses of the wildlife.
We've done a number of surveys, both before the meadows came into full flower, during the flowering period, and also out of season as well. What we found was that in principle people were very supportive of the introduction of the meadows into their local green spaces, and around 70% of people preferred the flowering meadows to the other options that we presented them with. We also found out that there were some interesting nuances that could really help us understand about how to introduce these vegetation types into local green spaces in a way that people find the most acceptable.
We know what the people think of the meadows, but it was important for us to know how wildlife reacted to these different types of meadows that we planted. So we went out and had a look to see what the insects were making of the flowers, just by looking visually to see what bumblebees and butterflies were that people would notice as they walked past. But at a deeper level, there's a lot more going on in the meadows, so we use a sweep net to catch those things that are flying around and that we can knock off the plants. And also even further down at the base of the roots and at the base of the plants, there are wood lice and spiders and beetles that we don't see at all. And it's not just about the summer when there are a few flowers about. These creatures have a whole life cycle that takes the full year using stems and the soil. So in the winter we went out grubbing through the base of the plants to see what creatures were down there. So the meadows are not just about warm sunny days, they're for all year round for the wildlife.
This work is really so important because it's at the cutting edge of innovative research, providing hard scientific evidence for the multiple benefits of introducing biodiverse meadows in urban areas. The benefits in terms of drainage, soil quality, as well as aesthetic benefits and benefits for wildlife and invertebrates. The knowledge exchange that's already been achieved with Luton has been huge. Knowledge exchange is a big thing for universities, but also for local authorities.
We're able to get more sort of advice from a sort of scientific perspective, more results coming forward that will help us to make the case when we need to take tough decisions about land management in the future.
We're also looking at the economic implications, which in this time of austerity for local authorities and budget cuts is crucial, so that local authorities will be able to, we hope, manage green spaces more effectively and economically.
Not only are we able to, perhaps divert some of the scarce resources into this sort of thing, but if people appreciate it and the wildlife certainly appreciates it, then I think that we're doing a good thing. And I think that if all local authorities and public sector bodies across the country are doing the same thing, then I think the biodiversity of Britain as a whole is only going to benefit from that.